Have you ever stopped yourself from saying something just because you were afraid it might come out wrong? I remember one afternoon back in school, the teacher asked a simple question. I actually knew the answer, and my hand almost went up. But then, a thought rushed into my mind. What if I'm wrong? What if everyone laughs? My hand slowly went back down. Someone else answered, and the teacher smiled, nodding. I sat there quietly, pretending not to care. But inside, I felt that sting of regret. Not because I didn't know the answer, but because fear held me back. The funny thing is that fear doesn't just appear in school, it shows up everywhere. At work, when you hesitate to share an idea. In friendships, when you avoid speaking your truth. And yes, especially in learning English. I remember practicing a sentence, wanting to sound natural, but I kept worrying. What if I pronounce it wrong? What if they don't understand me? And so, instead of speaking, I stayed quiet. That's the heavy weight of mistakes. Not the mistake itself, but the fear of it. Sometimes the mistake hasn't even happened yet, but we already punish ourselves for it. We imagine the embarrassment, the judgment, the failure, and in doing so, we miss the chance to try. So in this part, I want to take you into that exact moment, sitting in class, heart racing, hand halfway raised, then slowly falling back to my lap. Because maybe you've been there too. Maybe you felt that silence, not because you didn't know, but because fear was louder than your voice. When we talk about mistakes, the first thing that often comes up is fear. Fear of being judged, fear of being laughed at, fear of not being good enough. Maybe you've experienced this. You're in class. You know the answer, but your hand just won't go up. Why? Because in your mind, a little voice whispers, "What if I'm wrong? What if everyone notices? What if I look stupid?" Many of us were taught, whether directly or indirectly, that mistakes are bad. At school, red ink marks on our tests felt like little reminders of failure. At home, maybe a small slip-up earned us criticism instead of encouragement. Slowly, we began to equate mistakes with shame. But here's the paradox. Mistakes are actually the very thing that teach us best. There's an English idiom that says, "You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs." It means you can't achieve something meaningful without making some mess along the way. In language learning, that mess is mispronunciations, wrong grammar, or awkward sentences. And that's okay. It's part of the process. Yet fear keeps us stuck. It makes us believe that if we don't try, we won't fail. But in reality, not trying is the biggest failure of all. Let me tell you something important. Mistakes are not the enemy. In fact, mistakes are your best teacher. Think about when a child learns to walk. At first, they fall again and again. But do they stop? No. They get back up. And every fall teaches them balance until one day they can run. Without falling, they would never learn how to stand strong. Learning English is just like that. When you make a mistake, It doesn't mean you're bad at English. It means you are learning. Mistakes are a sign that you are moving forward. Maybe today you forget the right word. Maybe tomorrow you use the wrong tense, like saying he go to school instead of he goes to school. That's okay. Because every time you notice the mistake, your brain gets stronger. It remembers, next time I'll say it better. There's a saying in English, practice makes perfect, but I like to change it a little. Practice makes progress. Why? Because perfection is impossible. Nobody speaks perfectly, not even native speakers. But progress is something you can always achieve. Step by step, little by little. Every mistake is part of your progress. Here's a small secret. Even great speakers make mistakes. The difference is they don't stop when they make them. They keep going. They laugh, they correct themselves, and they move on. You can do the same. So the next time you make a mistake, don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel shy. Instead, smile. Tell yourself, great! I just learned something new. This mistake is my teacher. Remember this idiom. Every cloud has a silver lining. It means that even in something that looks bad, there's always something good inside. Your mistakes are the clouds, but the silver lining is your growth. So don't be afraid of mistakes. Welcome them. Because the more mistakes you make, the more progress you will see. Sometimes when we think about learning English, it feels too big. We imagine speaking fluently, reading fast, writing perfectly. And then we feel scared. We think, how can I ever get there? It's too hard. But here's the truth. You don't need to do everything at once. Big changes always start with small steps. Imagine a mountain. At the bottom, it looks impossible to climb. But if you take one step, then another step, slowly you start to go higher. One day, you look back and you realize you've already climbed so far. Learning English works the same way. Maybe today you only learn 5 new words. That's okay. Tomorrow you practice one short sentence. Next week you try to listen to a short English video. These small steps may feel little, but when you add them together, they become something powerful. Here's a good idiom for you. Rome wasn't built in a day. This means great things take time. Just like a city isn't built overnight, your English skills won't appear instantly. But with patience and small efforts, they grow stronger every day. Think about it. If you spend just 10 minutes a day learning English in 1 month, that's 300 minutes. In 1 year, that's over 3,600 minutes. See? Small steps become big results. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't think, I need to study for 2 hours every day or I won't improve. That kind of thinking only makes you stop. Instead, focus on small daily actions. A little reading, a little listening, a little speaking, step by step. Because progress doesn't come from doing everything in one day. Progress comes from doing something small every single day. Remember, Small steps today create big change tomorrow. Confidence doesn't come overnight. It grows little by little, like a small seed turning into a tree. And here's the good news. Every time you try, every time you speak, every time you make a mistake and learn from it, you are watering that seed. I remember when I first tried speaking English with someone who was a native speaker. My hands were sweating, my voice was shaking, and I kept thinking, what if I say it wrong? What if they don't understand me? But then, when I finally spoke, something surprising happened. They didn't laugh. They didn't judge. They just smiled, listened, and answered kindly. That moment showed me. Confidence is not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to try. So how can you build your own confidence? Start small. Maybe today you say one sentence in English to yourself in the mirror. Tomorrow you try ordering food in English or writing a short comment online. Little by little, these small steps build into something bigger. When learning English, many of us face the same fears. What if I make a mistake? What if people don't understand me? What if I sound silly? These fears are normal, but here's the truth. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. Mistakes are not something to be ashamed of. They are signs that you're learning. Also remember, most people are not listening to you to find your mistakes. They are listening because they want to understand you. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, as long as your message is clear, you are already successful. So the next time you feel nervous, just take a deep breath and remind yourself, courage is more powerful than fear. When it comes to learning English, you don't need to study for 5 hours a day or memorize 1,000 words at once. What truly matters is small, consistent habits. These little steps, repeated every day, can create big results over time. Here are some simple habits you can try. Listen every day. Even just 5 minutes of listening to English, like a podcast, a short YouTube video, or even music, can train your ears to understand more naturally. Speak out loud. Don't just read silently. Say the words. Repeat after a video or practice sentences in front of a mirror. This builds confidence. Learn 1 to 2 new words a day. That's it. Write them down, make a sentence, and try using them. After a month, you'll already have 30 to 60 new words. Think in English. When you're walking, eating, or waiting, try describing things in English in your head. For example, I am drinking water. The sky is blue. Celebrate small wins. Did you understand one sentence from a song? That's a win. Did you speak to someone in English even for 30 seconds? That's a win too. Remember the saying, little by little, a little becomes a lot. Your progress doesn't need to be loud or fast. It just needs to be steady. So don't underestimate these small habits. Over time, they can completely change your confidence and fluency. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What's one small progress you've made in your English learning this week? Share it in the comments because your story might inspire someone else too.